Welcome back to
Something
Ominous. This is your host, Jessica.
And I'm Karina.
And this is episode 22. We hope you enjoyed the last episode. We're very excited to be back.
Yeah, we actually made it to another episode.
I know.
Like 2 in a row. I feel like we're on a roll here.
Well, I think 2 weeks does work better for us.
I think so too. It gave us enough time to think of what we wanted to research and write it. Because definitely like the last time it was just too rushed, I feel like.
Yeah, everything was back to back. Then we'd finish the episode. I'd have to edit. Sometimes it would take me 2 days to edit because whatever work.
Yeah.
And then doing the research for the next episode, which was like in 3 days that we had to record. And
yeah, it was kind of crazy, but I feel good.
Me too.
All right. Well, you ready? What are you going to start with?
So I'm going to start. This is honestly the shortest episode in the history of Something Ominous for me. But I went to Guatemala last week, right?
Mm-hmm.
I went for a friend's wedding. And this is the reason, okay, this is a backstory to why I'm doing this story, okay? It's not just to talk about my trip.
Yeah.
So after the wedding was over, I go and I sit down with my friend, the bride. Y en eso, other people go and they sit down and we're just talking. And she puts me on blast. She's like, my friend Jessica has a podcast. It's a paranormal podcast. The reason why she said it is because, not funny story, but if you didn't know, it rains every single day for 5 months straight in Guatemala.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So it rains every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sitting there and I was like, Cynthia, it's so awesome. It didn't rain on your day. Because it didn't rain on her wedding day.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, yeah, es que clavaron navajas en la tierra. They stuck some knives in the dirt. And I was like, wait, what? And she's like, yeah, so, no, I don't, okay, look, I didn't ask that many questions because I was very tired.
Mm-hmm.
But they told her, we already did our ritual, our prayer, and we stabbed the knives in the dirt so it won't rain. And I was like, whoa, that's so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only day it didn't rain. It rained every single day except that day. It thundered, there was lightning, but no rain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they have a lot of rituals, a lot of ceremonies, and they believe very, very much in the sun, the stars, the moon, nature. They're big on that. So we're talking about that, and then that's when she says, oh, Jessica has a paranormal podcast. I felt embarrassed, but they all got excited and they were like, oh my God, I love these type of podcasts. Tell me more. And I'm like, I don't know. So I told them one of my stories, but then they started telling me their stories. And one of them tells me a story of Chaneques. And I'm like, what the fuck is a Chaneque?
Wait, I feel like that sounds familiar. What is it?
So Chaneques are mythical creatures from Mexican folklore, particularly within the Totonac culture of Veracruz. And these small creatures are very mischievous beings. They're similar to duendes or nature spirits, but they're believed to protect the forest and landscapes. So whereas duendes, they are believed to be everywhere,
Yeah.
Chaneques are only seen in the forest or where there's like a lot of vegetation.
Mm-hmm.
They often play tricks on those who disrespect nature, but can also assist those who show kindness to the environment.
Okay, they're like those sweet and sour patch.
Yes, rooted in ancient indigenous mythology, including Aztec and Mayan beliefs, Chaneques are also sometimes seen as descendants of Tlaloc, the god of rain, water, and fertility. Unlike the duendes, Chaneques are described to be child-sized with long, unkept hair and skin that blends into the jungle. Because the duendes, they're said to be like super little, like tiny things. Well, a lot of the descriptions that I found online are like a child size.
Oh. Wait, which one do you think is more creepy?
I would probably say a duende over a Chaneque. But if I'm hiking or in the forest and if I see a little kid running around or what I think it's a kid, and the description. Okay, so the description of the Chaneque kind of reminds me of Harry Potter's goblins from Gringotts.
Oh, okay.
The ones in the bank.
Yeah.
Like that.
Oh my God, I've always thought they were so creepy.
Exactly. So I'm like, that would scare me.
No, I think I'd be more scared of the Chaneques.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying I would want to see either one.
Yeah. And then if you're in the forest.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that's scary. Because of their childlike size, they appear to be playful and innocent. And I mean, it makes you trust them if you were to see them out there in the forest. Not me. I can relate. Mm-hmm. But that's what the articles say, that some people see them and they don't get scared because they're little, like kids, and they seem to be playful. And I'm like, no. Chaneques are seen wearing traditional indigenous clothing like loincloths, which are the garments around the waist that look like skirts. And then sometimes they can tie them around to look like underwear. They're also seen wearing tunics, and all of this is made out of the forest. So like leaves or sticks, whatever they find out there, they're going to make their clothing with that. Some accounts suggest that their eyes can glow or have a supernatural quality. There are versions of Chaneques that describe them with animal-like features. For example, animal ears and tails. So like a pointy ear, but then I think of elves with pointy ears. But they say that these features can help them connect to nature and the spirits that are around the forest. They also believe that they have a shape-shifting ability, or that they can camouflage to the forest, making them hard to be spotted by someone else because they can easily blend in. So they can shape-shift into a tree, a plant, anything.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So you could be walking around, see something move, and then just randomly it shapeshifts to something else. So
I was just thinking that. I'm like, they could literally be watching you.
Exactly.
Like they could be anything.
Yeah, anything. You'll hear like little laughs in the forest, and that's just them trying to catch your attention, but they're shapeshifted as a tree. When I read that, I was like, oh no, that is creepy. Chaneques are skilled in creating illusions and tricks to confuse and mislead travelers, protecting their forest habitats from intruders. Even though they're mischievous, they also serve as guardians of the forest, overseeing the balance of nature. Some legends claim that Chaneques have the ability to manipulate time, making it feel like you either lost time or no time has passed.
Oh, that's giving, what was it? What were they called again?
I don't fucking know. Mirrored men?
Mirrored men.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of tales of the forest going quiet have this in common.
The loss of time.
Yeah. They lose time. They're disoriented. Could all be the same creatures. Honestly, it could be anything. But what I noticed is that most of them are seen in Mexico. Like the area where the rainforest is.
Okay, so like Chiapas,
Oaxaca, Veracruz. What we know so far from Chaneques is that they're mischievous and they like to play tricks on humans by hiding their belongings or confusing them down the wrong path in the forest. So this is where I think they're similar to duendes, just because of hiding the belongings, right? Mm-hmm. They're known for that. They're nature's bodyguard, like literally, they are their bodyguards. If they find you disrespecting or harming nature, they will come after you. Some ways they can do this, other than disorienting you, is by making you feel sick or stealing your soul. They say that if they steal your soul, you're completely lost. You stay in kind of like a trance state, and you have to get back your soul. You have to earn it back pretty much by showing respect to nature.
So this happens if you disrespect nature, like if you're like littering or you're doing something.
Mm-hmm. While all of this sounds scary, it's not always like that. They can also guide you when you're lost in the forest. If they observe you taking care of nature, loving nature, hugging trees, not throwing trash, or disrespecting the forest, they can reveal themselves, as long as you believe in them, and they can guide you through the forest. So when I was reading this, I was like, I wonder if, have you heard those stories where kids get lost in the woods and then out of nowhere they reappear?
Oh, yeah.
So I was thinking of this. I'm like, what if it was Chaneque or a duende or
like it
a
could
creature?
Be them somehow guiding them out.
Exactly. Because they're innocent. Mm-hmm. I thought of that and I was like, oh my God, I wonder if that's why some of these stories are mysterious disappearances and appearances. Many locals like to use Chaneques to teach others the importance of caring for the environment and connecting with nature. Villagers used to give the Chaneques offerings in exchange for protection. So they hoped that the Chaneques would protect their harvest and prevent intruders or other evil beings from entering their homes. Another form of protection is wearing clothing inside out if you're traveling in the forest. I've heard of that, but I've heard of that with duendes.
No, I've never heard of that.
Yeah. I don't know how
or like why.
I couldn't find much on that, but there isn't a lot of information on that. But I was like, I've heard of it in the past, so I'm going to put it in here. So these are some of the legends that I found online. It's literally only 4, but there's a lot more. There's just not a lot of encounters of Chaneques. And I think it's because a lot of these encounters were of duendes, which they compare a Chaneque with. But to me, the difference is that a Chaneque lives in the forest. These encounters people were having were outside of the forest, like in a home. And I'm like, no, like based on what a Chaneque is or based on their history, they're in a forest. That's why I'd include a lot of it, because I'm like, that sounds more like a duende.
Yeah.
One of the legends is called the Lost Traveler. This legend is of a traveler who, while walking through the dense forest, became disoriented. Chaneques were playing tricks to keep him lost and send him on a different path. Eventually, the traveler realized he needed to show respect for nature and gain their trust. After apologizing and expressing gratitude for the forest, he was guided back to safety. The second one is the hidden treasure. And this tale speaks of a hidden treasure guarded by the Chaneques. People seeking the treasure often found themselves being tricked by the Chaneques, who would hide the treasure or lead them in circles, believing that the treasure can only be accessed by those who respect the land and approach it with pure heart. So they were leading them away because they're like, no, you're just here for the gold, for the treasure. You're not here like out of the kindness of your heart. So F you. And pretty much just
let them in circles.
Yeah, let them in circles. And then the third one that I found was that they're protectors of animals. And in some stories, Chaneques are portrayed as guardians of the animals. They protect endangered species from poachers and will play tricks on anyone who tries to harm wildlife, making it difficult for them to succeed in their ill intentions. The last one is the dance of the Chaneques. There are also legends about Chaneques hosting nighttime dances in the forest. Hey, party over here. I can just picture them jumping around. I don't know, just because they're so little. Those who stumble upon the festivities are often enchanted by the music and may feel compelled to join. That'd be me. Only to find themselves lost in time. If they don't show proper respect or gratitude, they might never return home.
Wow.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Like, they do steal your soul. Sometimes you just don't go back. Overall, Chaneques embody the duality of nature, both playful and protective, reminding people of their connection to the earth. These legends serve as cautionary tales, teaching the importance of respecting nature and living in harmony with the environment. And to finish it off, I saw a video of what they believe is a Chaneque. Let me show it to you. So in this video, it's an old video. It's from 2008 on YouTube. And the creator was recording, I guess, I don't know if it's his son, but he was playing soccer. They were like kicking the ball back and forth. And the little kid is like, mira eso, or look over there. And he's like, what? Because the kid was like, what is that? And he's like, what are you talking about? And he turns the camera and you see something from far away, like hopping through the grass, because the grass was kind of long, and then jumps over like this, I don't know, I guess where, I don't know what it's called, but it's like this little fenced off area, I guess, where they grill, you know, in Mexico, in El Rancho. Well, he jumps over this hole and then they follow and he's nowhere to be found. And the little kid is scared. He's like pulling the guy's shirt and the guy's like, no tengas miedo, like, don't be scared. Don't pull my shirt. He's probably here. He's around here. And they didn't find him. Here, I'm going to show you the video.
Wait, this is scary because I'm scared. Oh, wait. Oh my goodness. That's so creepy. Does it show it?
No.
Oh, and then it's not there anymore. Probably shape shifted into grass.
For real. Don't be scared.
I'm literally holding it like on the floor.
Yeah. I'm going to link
my God, that's very creepy.
I know. I'm going to link this video on the show notes if you do want to watch it. But I thought that was interesting. And you see how the dogs started barking? Like they started barking the minute the little kid was like, mira, ¿qué es eso? You hear the dogs barking within that moment.
But like you can't really see the details.
You can't because it's pixelated, 2008. I'm sure it was with the cell phone.
But you see like como si fuera
like a monito hopping around. Definitely bigger than what they say a duende is.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right? So that's why I was like, they remind me of the Harry Potter Green Gods goblins.
Yeah. Wait, that was kind of creepy. But now that I think about it, I don't know which one's creepier. like the duende or the chaneque. I almost feel like duende because chaneque at least has like a good purpose, you know?
Yes. I mean, we love nature.
Yeah, and we're respectful.
Correct.
Of
so
nature and animals. So I think we would be okay.
Yeah. So I think if we were to ever go in the forest, we would be fine. So I don't think we'll have a problem with that. I feel like duendes are a little bit more scary though.
Yeah, and they can appear anywhere. Like
exactly where Chaneques stay in the forest. So I think that's why look-wise, Chaneques do look scarier based on what the
description.
Yeah, the description is from people that have seen them.
All right, well, I'm next, and I'm going to talk about the Bell Witch haunting, which I kind of mentioned it in my last episode about the Appalachian Mountains, but I knew I wanted to do a whole episode on it because I've heard about this haunting a lot, but I didn't really know details. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of that one movie you had, the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah.
I don't know why I always thought they were the same thing, but it's not.
Wasn't it inspired by it? No, maybe. I think it's Blair Witch and Bell Witch. That's what it is.
I think that's what it is. No, it was. It said it's inspired by the Bell Witch of Tennessee.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay, it is.
Oh, see, I know my stories.
But why is that movie so different? Maybe it was just inspired. By witch. Okay, so this story begins in the early 1800s in Robertson County, Tennessee, in a quiet farming community near the Red River. John Bell was a successful farmer. He moved there with his family around 1804, wanting to start a new life. The Bell family consisted of the father, John Bell, his wife, Lucy Bell, and their 6 children. So for years, the Bell family prospered until 1817 when things started to take a dark turn. It all started one day when John went outside and was walking through the cornfield. As he was walking, he spotted a strange-looking black creature. It had the body of a dog, but the head that resembled that of a rabbit, and it had bright green eyes. John right away got his shotgun ready, but by the time he pointed the gun at it, it ran away. The next night, one of his sons, Drury, ran inside the house during dinner time saying he had just seen the largest bird. He said it looked like a big wild turkey or a big ancient bird. The family thought that was weird since the kids grew up on a farm and are pretty familiar with all kinds of animals, but they went to bed without giving it much thought. Except not too long after that, they started hearing faint knocks on the windows and doors at night, and every time they would go outside to check who it was but never find anyone. Strange noises echoed through the house at night, tapping on the walls, sounds of rat-like scratching as if something was trying to get in. And I read in a lot of articles that they heard rat scratching noises on the bedposts, like on their bed.
And then you're seeing these random animals that you've never seen before. I would immediately think it's an omen.
Yeah, that's kind of how it felt like when you see black crows or...
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, something's going down. Something's going to happen. Like that would be my first thought.
The family dismissed it as wind or animals outside. But soon it escalated in ways they couldn't explain. Objects began to move on their own. Blankets were pulled from beds. Doors would slam shut without cause. And then came the voices. Whispers at first. You couldn't really understand what it said, but it would grow louder and more distinct as time passed. According to the book The Bell Witch by Pat Fitzhugh, when angry or excited, the spirit spoke in a high-pitched tone that often brought ringing or blood to people's ears. As I was saying that, my lights flickered and Jessica just like sat up straight.
I was like, whoa, did you see that? Or was
the AC turned on and it does that's
good.
When content, the spirit spoke in a low-pitched tone, similar to the sound of low-pitched musical notes. So pretty much the sound started as just whispers. They couldn't really understand it. But as time went on, they started hearing the voice and it started speaking to them.
That is some scary shit because it reminds me of the times that many years back we'd hear whispers at the house. Beto, my brother, heard someone going, hey, right on his ear.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know if you remember the Ring camera that we had. We
put it out. In your living room?
Yes, we put it out just to see what it was going to catch. And then, you see my dad walk into his room. And as soon as the door closes, you hear, hey. And that's like the things we would hear constantly. Hey, hey. I've never heard whispers. I would hear my name. So that's what it kind of scares me. And my mom, not that long ago, maybe like a year or two, would hear her name being called. So you're talking about whispers and little voices, and I'm like, oh, that just gives me the creeps because
remember Lily heard the shh.
Oh, yes.
Like in her ear, she heard shh.
You're right. I forgot that Lily also heard the shh. So relatable.
Your ghost is like quiet. Like, can y'all
like,
just
shut the fuck up? I'm trying to rest.
It's like,
I can't rest in peace. Okay, wait, I'm going back home. It's probably gonna do something to me.
I know. Okay, let's
Jalar
not.
los pies en la
I'm
noche.
just kidding.
Just kidding.
Aside from the sounds in the home, the haunting worsened to where the family was being physically abused. The worst of it would happen to John and his daughter Betsy. John's health began to deteriorate in 1817 when he started to have trouble eating, speaking, and swallowing, and said it felt like he had a stick of wood lodged in his mouth. When the family would ask why John, it would say, because he deserves killing.
What did he do?
I don't know. Nobody really knows much like history about him besides him just like being a farmer. He lived in North Carolina.
So they don't know if, like, in the past maybe he did something really bad and that's why.
Well, something about them, I didn't write it on here, but they were slave owners.
Oh.
And they were like pretty rich.
Mm-hmm.
And owned a farm. But I mean, you know why they owned a farm and who was working the farm.
Yeah.
And who was making them rich.
Okay.
So I'm guessing.
I get it. Karma.
You know, targeted John. I don't know. And with Betsy, which her I wouldn't understand because she was like a little 12-year-old, like his 12-year-old daughter. So I don't know. And with Betsy, she was often slapped, pinched, and even choked by an unseen force.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, her mom even began to fear that she would be killed one day and would send her to sleep over at a family's house. But even then, the spirit would follow and taunt her over there. So homegirl was going through it. And one thing that's really known is that when Betsy got older, she fell in love and became engaged to her neighbor Joshua Gardner. When the spirit found out, it would chant, "Please, Betsy, please don't marry Joshua Gardner," which it would say in a taunting manner for months.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, every day for months. Betsy became so afraid that she ended the engagement out of fear that she could never be happy. So spirit pretty much like pushed her to end the engagement and just be miserable. Over time, the spirit introduced itself and claimed to be named Kate, a witch sent to torment John Bell and his family. Some accounts say that the spirit was a ghost of Kate Batts, a neighbor who had a land dispute with John Bell, though others believe the witch was something far older and darker. Which that's kind of what I believe, because I think they're just blaming, like, they must have had a neighbor who was like witchy and they're like, oh, like it must be Kate Batts. But I really feel like it was something that had
many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I came with a vengeance. Now, just to give Kate a tiny bit of credit, she wasn't all bad. She was actually really fond of John's wife, Lucy. When Lucy would ask why she was tormenting her family, it said that it would never hurt her. One day when Lucy got sick, the spirit took care of her. It would talk to her in a soft, kind voice and would feed her grapes and hazelnuts that would just float onto her bed. She also didn't really care for the other children. They were still experiencing the haunted sounds of the home and would hear her laughter when they were afraid, but nothing like what John and Betsy experienced.
So I wonder if Betsy did do something that the witch didn't like. Like, I get it, she was a 12-year-old child, but sometimes 12-year-olds are not well behaved,
right,
and could be a little mean.
Yeah.
So I wonder maybe she witnessed something that Betsy did that she was not okay with.
Yeah, or maybe knew what Betsy could become maybe later on.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know.
Honestly, that could be it too. She saw her future and was like, oh, she's not going to be like a good person. I need to teach her a lesson now or something.
So during the times in the early 1800s, there were a lot of new religions and people were becoming more aware of supernatural beings. I read that the family kept the happenings a secret for as long as they could for fear that they would be criticized or the town would think that they were just making it up. Also, they were new to the town, so I think they just didn't want to build that kind of relationship, you know, or like have people look at them weird.
Yeah, I mean, they also hung witches, so they're probably like, oh, we're gonna get killed or whatever, hunged or something.
But really, when some of their friends found out, they would come over and read the Bible to try and get rid of the spirit, but the spirit would mock them or even read scripture back to them, and it would make it even stronger when they left. So I thought that was creepy too. Like, imagine you're reading scripture, try to get rid of it, and it just reads it back to you.
It's mocking you.
Yeah. In 1820, after 3 years of John's torture, he was found dead. A strange vial of black liquid was discovered near his body, and the Bell Witch claimed to have poisoned him. It was said that she laughed and mocked the family during his funeral. Oh. So while they were having the funeral, like they could hear her laughing.
Ooh.
After he died, the hauntings lessened and eventually stopped, but some claim the witch still haunts the area, particularly a cave near the old Bell farm, now known as the Bell Witch Cave.
You want to go?
I think I would.
Yeah.
Why not?
We'll be fine.
You know, what could happen?
Wait, would you really go? It's in Tennessee. It's not that far.
I feel like I would. Okay, maybe.
You're like, wait, you're making it too real for me.
Let me look it up. There's a video where And I'll link this one in the description. There's a video where, you know that show Ghost Adventures?
Yeah.
They go into the cave to investigate. And as soon as they went in, one of the cameras captured a woman's voice that sounded like it was saying, "Listen to me." Also, in another clip, one guy's recording and he's using a camcorder and says, "Can you appear as a ball of light?" And on video, you can see a white orb floating towards him and a voice that says, "Here I come."
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so they got good content, but you know how they like to like hype everything up.
Yes.
But I don't know. I mean, I'll link the video and the voice sounds pretty clear. Visitors have reported strange sounds, apparitions, and other eerie experiences there as well. Whether the Bell Witch was a ghost, a witch, or something else entirely, her story continues to be one of the most famous hauntings in the U.S. history. I feel like I've heard of this a lot. I just didn't know the details. I've even heard about like John Bell, like in his family, but
yeah,
I didn't know everything that she did to them. It sounds a lot like, you know that movie or that story, Amityville?
The Amityville Horror? Is this the one where they say it was a president that went to go visit them? And I think they were going to stay or something. And they ended up like saying, nope, we're not staying because they got scared or they were intrigued by the stories.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So it was Andrew Jackson.
Andrew Jackson.
I didn't add it to the story, but I did read that. So Jackson, he decided to visit the Bell farm just to kind of investigate and I guess see if anything would happen with them. So when Jackson's party reached the Bell property, their wagon suddenly stopped moving. So it was like something stopped it.
Yeah.
And then a voice declared, "You may go now, but I will see you again tonight."
And they said, bye, peace, gone. Yeah, I remember, I don't know if I read it or it was like a TikTok, but I remember seeing that.
And apparently, like, even that night and the nights after that, him and his men, like, they all experienced a bunch of hauntings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were being haunted after that. And they were like, oh, fuck, what do we do?
Yeah, that happened. I know. This one was pretty creepy because I'm like, dang, like, this must be a strong ghost or witch or whatever it is.
I do believe that it's a witch. I mean, a woman that's very connected spiritually, or that was very connected spiritually, and figured out how to stay behind to haunt people or
the next generation or
correct.
Whatever.
Be their, what is it, karmic cycle or whatever.
Yeah, because it could have been from like the great grandfather.
That's a good story. I liked it.
I got a little creeped out because it just like escalates like really fast. I'm like, okay, like knocking sounds, this and that. And then it's like Betsy got slapped. I'm like, what? Like, oh my God. Well, that concludes our episode 22.
It was a good one.
It was. I really liked it. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. Make sure you're following us on all of our social media, TikTok at SomethingOminous, Instagram at SomethingOminouspodcast, and YouTube at SomethingOminous.
See you guys in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye.